Look at this, people here already. And we had some free stream hangoutage on the Discord, which was a lot of fun. Hello, everybody. Let me know how the audio levels are. They should be fine because we were just streaming on Discord, but this is a little bit of a different setup. So the actual audio that's going out to here is not the same audio that goes out to Discord. So it's been a week, but we aren't even going to get into it because we got a lot of stuff to cover today. So awesome. Okay. Yes. Join the Discord. I'm sure the exclamation mark Discord thing won't work, but let's find out. Actually, let's do it here. Okay. Discord. Will any of the bots say yes? It worked. That's not supposed to work. Wow. It only works directly in the Restream chat, I think. I think that's what it is. I don't know. Who knows? These things are a mystery. Well, we got a bunch of people here already. Jojo, nice to see you. We're gonna do some stuff today that we haven't done before. It was something brand new. We talked about this a little bit, but our friend Tom Stewart of the CreatureWorks Studio. Hey, CreatureWorksStudio.com. Has very generously put out Joe Weatherford. Wow, look, everybody's showing up immediately here. Usually we gotta wait. Tom Stewart of the CreatureWorks Studio has released a free pattern, as a lot of you will already know. We're gonna build a puppet. I know it sounds weird. Stay with me. Tom has released a free pattern called the Smalley, and we are going to build it. Probably not the whole thing on stream. Did you mention this build on the Operation Puppet Pixels podcast? I did not, because I hadn't. The pattern wasn't released when we recorded the last Pixels and Puppets podcast. Hey, see, live switching, pretty good, huh? I'll even go back if you're like, no, stick around. So no, the pattern wasn't out yet. The pattern came out like last week, I think. I don't know when it's time. So anyway, here we go. We could have both up at the same time, but that's confusing. So we're gonna build it, at least start building it on stream today. If you want this pattern, you can just go to the CreatureWorksStudio.com, sign up for the newsletter, and you will get an email link, and you will be able to download and use this pattern any way you like. I have emailed Tom to make sure that he's okay with us building this, and also we're going to do some alterations to it, and he's totally okay with all of that stuff, so it's all good. Yeah, product placement, tell me about it. So we should probably get right into it because there's a lot, and there's no way we're going to do this whole thing on stream. And unfortunately, I have to kind of like keep going with this. I can't save this to do on stream. Maybe I can. I don't know. We'll see how far we get. But let's just jump in here, because here we go. I've got the pattern all printed out, ready to go. Yeah, go away. So when you look at this pattern, and the example that Tom gives is basically a very Roosevelt Franklin looking kind of little humanoid type character. And that is kind of, when you look at the pattern, that's kind of where your mind goes to start with. So of course, that's what we're not going to do. We're going to do a furry monster with the Smalley pattern. Just because I don't think that's the first thing people would think of, and it's me. So I do monsters, it's my thing. But first, because I haven't had enough coffee yet today, so the process that we're going to go through, I haven't even decided what color it's going to be yet, but we've had thunderstorms on and off all morning here, and I got the window open a little bit, but I don't really want to open it all the way just in case we get another thunderstorm blowing up. So I probably am not going to do any gluing. So that means that one of the things we can start on is the fur, but I don't know what color I want to make it yet. So the first thing, as opposed to the first thing, is I want to do a slight alteration to the hand pattern. And I'll show you the hand pattern that comes with it. First, I need a lozenge. that hail that happened before 8 a.m. was sure a thing. Yeah, it was not good. It seems to have calmed down quite a bit now, but I just, to be on the safe side, I don't want to anger the gods. So, let's have a look at what we got here. Tom's hand pattern is really cool, and I like it a lot. And they do a thing that's a bit different than a lot of patterns that you might see. Let's see. Yeah, also I haven't quite decided how I want to. I might do like the fingers in fleece and then the the palm and the back of the hand in fur. I don't know. We'll see yet. I haven't decided yet. So anyway, here's the hand pattern as it exists. I don't know how well you're going to see this on camera, but kind of small because it's a small pattern, as it should be. Talked about that before. I haven't cut this out all the way. This circle should be cut out as well. But here's the hand pattern as it is. So you see, Tom does, the 3 fingers, and then the thumb is separate, and the thumb actually goes on separately. Tom's got a whole series that he's doing on his channel. Let me grab the link for that. Tom may drop by. Tom has dropped by. Yeah, next week will make a biggie. Tom has dropped by on occasion, so we may see an appearance from the creator himself. But I'm gonna paste this in. I'll try it with the Restream chat. We'll see if that works. There's the link to Tom's YouTube channel. And that's where you can watch Tom's build videos of this. But we're gonna do an alteration of this. Now, Tom's thumb is really neat and interesting, and I like it a lot. Because Tom does it as a separate piece, and so it's actually kind of positioned, it's an opposable thumb. It's literally like positioned out by default rather than just a flat, hand like a lot of patterns that you get. And that's really cool. It looks great when you build it. The problem, not really a problem, but the thing that I'm trying to avoid, of course, as always, is time. Because this is something I am going to be building this for the shop. Tom is okay with people selling the puppets that they make with this pattern, with the caveat that he would like them to donate, I think it's 25% of the proceeds to some local charity. If they do so, Tom has the details of that in the pattern itself. We, of course, will be doing that. This is going to go on the shop, and I will do that. I'll probably pick like a local animal shelter or something. So I'm going to do 2 things to this because I really can't spend the time to do a fancy separate thumb pattern like this. If I'm building for the shop, always I got to be as speedy as possible. So we're going to change the hand pattern to be your standard flat with a thumb. I also, of course, because it's me, I'm going to take out the middle finger because my whole Vulcan salute thing. Thank you, JV. It is a good shirt, isn't it? But we want this to be proportioned the same, as the existing pattern. And the other thing is the arms. The way that Tom does the arms is very, it's the bottom sleeve. Let's see here. Arm. Okay, here's the foam pattern for the arm. So as you can see, Tom actually does a foam tube for the arm, which is a very standard way of doing it. I sometimes will do that, but most of the time I'm just stuffing the arm with fiberfill. So what I'm going to do to start is make the fabric pattern, and where it is. Yeah, it's okay for me to show all this on stream, of course, because this is a free pattern. Do go and sign up for the newsletter so you can download your copy. The arm is kind of a standard, just a tube. A tube. Arm fabric pattern. Here we go. So, so as you can see, the hand and the arm are 2 separate pieces. We're going to change that. We're going to make it a single piece, and we're just going to do the tracing way. But we do want to kind of keep it within these proportions, right? So it's good to have this out and just sort of see. We're going to start by because like I said, I want to keep this in the same kind of design aesthetic and the same proportions as the original. We're just going to do our 2-fingered version of it. So let's just move all this stuff. So I got a fresh piece of cardstock here. And we're gonna start with just tracing this out. And you know, because this is gonna be an Operation Puppet monster, I gotta do my whole weird hand thing. I'm not the only person that does it. I've seen plenty of 2-finger, 1-thumb puppets. I mean, there's a couple of reasons, right? One is it just looks nice and kind of weird and alien and monstery. And the other, of course, is any excuse a puppet builder has to reduce the number of fingers that they go and take. It's a double agenda here. So I'm just gonna trace, you know, the index, and I guess it's the little finger, not the ring finger, because we've got our standard cartoon 3-finger thing here. It's gonna be very, very metal. And these are gonna be placed really wide apart because we are just kind of getting rid of the middle finger, and that's kind of cool. That's gonna be really interesting to see. Royal quilt batting is also good for arms. Yes, absolutely. I like doing kind of wadded up chunks of fiber fill because you can actually, if you do it right, you sort of roll it up and you sort of mash it together, and then you can create, A, you can create joints, and B, you can create almost like musculature. It almost looks like a muscle. So I like that a lot. That's really cool. So the thumb, as you can see, is actually a folded pattern. So we will just do that. And we'll just sort of place our thumb where we think a thumb should be. Just, you know, eyeball it. I like how wide apart these fingers. This is going to look kind of weird and alien, and I like that. If you've seen the Neefs, you know I'm into my weird and alien thing. I'm going to make a little bit of a curve here as well, just so it's not a harsh transition. So there we go. That's pretty much it for the foam pattern. But we also, of course, want a fabric pattern. And so all we're going to do for that, I'm going to, because Tom's, this is the foam fabric. So as you can see, the original pattern is kind of tapered a bit. So it's a bit wider at the shoulder than it is at the wrist, which is very standard. So rather than just trying to copy this, we're just going to measure it out and see. Because what we need to do is kind of transition this to being, because we're doing like a 2/2 flat pattern thing, we need to sort of taper this in and then have it go to the wrist size and then out to the shoulder size. So let's just see where we're at. So, oh, of course, it's a nice round number. 3 and 3.6 inches. We're gonna say about there. You know what? Nah, let's just be. If you don't want to do math, there's a simple way to find the halfway point on a pattern like this, and it's just folded in half. Inches. Why do we still work in inches? Imprecise. I could just measure in centimeters. What is this, the time of Charlemagne? An entire measurement system based on the length of bits of the king. All right, anyway, there's the pattern folded in half. So this is where imperialistic peoples, that's why, exactly right. This is what the arm would be like naturally. As it is in the default pattern. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of lay this down. These arms are kind of short too. I wanted them a little bit longer because in fur, of course, you want a little bit more leeway. You know what? I'm just going to go right down to the bottom here and just going to trace that out. Again, trying to keep the original proportions in the spirit of the original. And all we're going to do is we're just going to, you know, do that. There we go. So there is basically it. that's our Operation Puppet version of this hand. And then, so we've got now a single piece, and we're just going to like fold the fleece in half and then trace that on the machine, like my standard shop build arms. I wish I could spend more time on things like this. Unfortunately, I can't. It would be much better to do this the way that Tom has it by default, and that's to do the arm as a separate piece, and then the hand as a separate piece, and the hand stitched together and everything, and it would look much better. But I just can't spend that kind of time. Hoya, hello, nice to see you. It is building a puppet, it's true. So we're gonna cut this out, and then we're gonna make the pattern for the insert that's gonna go in here, where we have the hand plate and the finger armature. That's next, but first we're gonna cut this out. Get my junk scissors for cutting cardboard. Don't use your good scissors for this, kids. Whenever possible, I try and, like a big scrap like this, I'll save this because there's little patterny bits I can make. Bonk, hello! Nice to see you. There's little things I can do with little pieces of cardboard like that. So I try to not waste where I can. I know that's off camera. His fingers are a little stubby, but that's okay. We'll just see how they look. Make patterns from other patterns, it's true. But that's kind of what I wanted to show, and I mentioned this to Tom when I emailed him, that like I think this is instructive for people to see, like once you get a pattern, you know, go and buy one, either you know, from Project Puppet, or get Tom's one, or whatever, you know, wherever you get your patterns legally. You can iterate on patterns. You can, like, you know, I actually don't have that many patterns. I just do iterations of the ones that I do have or have made. I'm gonna shave this for scrap. So now, what we need to do is make the pattern for the inside here, where we're going to cut this out of foam and then we're going to put hand plate in and do the finger armature. Tom does that differently than I usually do, so go and watch Tom's videos. I hope this is still on the clipboard. I'm going to try this. Is it still on the clipboard? It is. Go to Tom's YouTube channel and check out Tom's videos. They're not all out yet, I don't think, but he's putting them out slowly. And you'll see how but Tom does have the hand build for this on his channel, so. So yes, we want to, I know, right? Like there's a whole bunch of reasons to do this. The metal hands is one of them. I'm gonna go right down to the edge of the paper because now we see where the cutoff is, right? Put this up a little bit more. So I'm just gonna trace it again. We're gonna do a couple of things with this. So this is gonna be the foam pattern, and then we're gonna make hand plate pattern that's gonna go in this. So there's our foam pattern. We're gonna cut this a little bit small, because the foam should always be a bit smaller than the thing you're shoving it in. Oh, is it Tom's build of the hands is almost identical to how, is it Josiah? Please correct me if it's not Josiah or Hosea. I'm not sure how you pronounce your actual name. Wembley's hands, and they look fantastic. The opposable thumb thing is great. And like I said, I wish I had time to do my shop builds like that, because they look fantastic. If you have the time, do your thumb as a separate piece and then put it on at a different angle, at like an opposable thumb angle, because it looks fantastic. But we're doing the quick and dirty way. Well, quick, not necessarily dirty. We are taking care. It's not that dirty. Make up your own jokes, friends. So you see, I've just traced a little tiny bit inside there. That's our cut line because we want to make the foam a little bit smaller than the fleece, as always. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to make a hand plate. Now this hand plate is going to be quite interesting because this hand is very sort of short and squat. So the hand plate is going to end up being kind of like this. And then we'll have a hole here, a hole here, and a hole here. And that's where we're going to put the wires for the fingers. But see, here's why we keep the scrap. And this is a good thing to use for your scrap. Since I'm throwing it out, it can go to some use. So this doesn't have to be any specific size, it just kind of has to fit in that space. And this is also what we're going to glue the arm rod to. So I'm just cutting a little sort of oval shape, flattened oval. Again, my methods are usually designed for speed, but also to look good, right? Like that's, you know, I try to never sacrifice too much quality for just being able to get it done quickly. I do have to focus on speed, but that's kind of my model, is to just get it done quickly, but also looking good. So we're just kind of going, all right, well, we know we need there and there and there. So there are our marks where we're going to cut the holes. So we're going to do that. I'm going to knock a bunch of stuff over and getting the tools that I need, of course. Everything's on top of everything else, as always. Opposable thumb is a great pattern. That's what you want, a weird personal puppet. Yes, exactly. Exactly. I will probably, on the next Oracle build, I will probably do something like that. Get it did, exactly. So this is just a leather punch. I'm just going to punch the holes for the finger holes. This is always a bit weird. Resists, but it should be okay. Again, this isn't an exact science. I think I could hear thunder. If the stream suddenly goes away, it's probably because I lost power. I'm also taking care to not make the holes too close to the edge because this is gonna be made out of plastic and we don't want to crack the plastic. So there we go, we got the holes in the hand. So this is the hand plate. That's simple. And so I think, oh, that's thunder, all right. Yep, more thunder is happening. We may be closing the window very soon. Whew, where are we at? 11:25, all right. So I'm just gonna start cutting out bits of foam right now, because there's a fair amount to this. We are gonna do the foam body just like Tom's pattern, and then we gotta cut this out first. You get the coffee off of the table. Don't do this. See this? Don't do this, because especially if you're using barge and stuff like that. Once again, I am doing the thing I'm telling you not to do. For legal reasons, I have to tell you not to do it. Actually, just don't get barge in your coffee is the real lesson. So let me cut this out. You say that as I do. That's right. We've met, right? Like, the point is, you need to know what it is you shouldn't do. And the rain suddenly starts, like a lot of it. I'm gonna close the window, excuse me. Me off camera for a second here. Not off mic, but yep, oh, that's blowing in all right. All right, we are definitely not going to be gluing on stream today. At least not until that blows over. Hopefully the power will hold out. We'll see. Exciting times here in the Puppet Mines. I should check. I used to have puppetmines.com registered. I don't think I do anymore. No idea what I do with that. All right, there we go. There is our foam pattern for the Smalley hand. So we're just gonna start cutting out some foam, and then we'll decide what color. We don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that. We do need this. We don't need this. Right, the danger anyone is raiding cats and dogs is true. You are correct. Neck tube pattern, yep. Okay, so yes, there's a neck tube pattern as well. I don't think we'll be doing this. I don't usually do neck tubes on store builds, but again, it's good to have. This is a good pattern. Palm done good. Fabric. Foam, there we go. There's the body pattern for the foam. Fabric for the head, and here are the mouth plates. Oh, and also, this is another thing that I don't normally do, but we'll probably do on this. There's a skull. There's an interior skull insert for this as well. Here's the mouth plate. We don't need that quite yet. I haven't decided what I'm going to make the mouth plate out of yet. Probably going to be plastic, but this might be... I can actually show this. So normally on a build this size, I just put it in here and now it's gone. Of course. The shape of the mouth plate kind of matters when it comes to what material you're going to build it out of. Oh goodness, am I going to have to dump all of this stuff? No, here it is. Okay, here we go. So there is the mouth plate. So this is the rigid mouth plate. It expires June this year. So that's me. That's my well, I assume it's me. That's my registrar of choice. So here's the mouth plate pattern. Now, normally when I'm going to do a puppet this size, I will make the mouth plate out of, as you have seen several times on the channel, one of these plastic flexible cutting mats. I like this material a lot for making flexible mouth plates. However, that's not necessarily going to be a great material for something this size. And the reason for that is because this is kind of wide. And I have found that, like, for doing a sort of long and narrow mouth plate, the flexible material is good. But for doing something wide, what will tend to happen is it will bow because it's flexible, right? So it's gonna flex in the direction of the longest direction, right? So on something wide like this, it's gonna bow like that, and you don't really want that for this pattern. So I'll probably make this either out of thicker plastic or even wood. Plywood, 1/8 inch plywood is a really, really good material to make rigid mouth plates out of, because it is it takes glue very well, and it is also very light. It is in fact lighter than plastic per sort of volume, which I know seems counterintuitive, but it's plywood, so it's a whole thing. So I may actually cut these. I gotta cut some other mouth plates anyway, so I'll probably get the saw out at some point and just cut a whole bunch of mouth plates all at once, and this will probably be in that. Not going to do that today. What we are going to do is cut out some patterns. Oh, we need the insert for the skull as well. The little Pac-Man shape. There we go. So we're just going to start. I'll start with the skull. Why not? You're giving my big stupid head in frame. We are going to do the skull insert. We'll talk about this when the time comes, or we may not get a chance to do this on stream, so maybe we'll talk about it before the time comes. But this is something I don't normally do, but I am going to do it on this build. I'll show you why. Skull inserts. There's a couple of ways to approach those. But we'll start with the skull. Now, I literally don't have any more polyfoam. Normally for shop builds, I'd build this in a polyfoam upholstery foam. But I honestly just ran out, and the next shipment should be here anytime now. Like literally it could come during the stream. So I am gonna build this out of reticulated foam, which is normally not what I would do for a build like this, but needs must. The reason I wouldn't do it for a build like this is because it's kind of expensive. And this is intended to be a kind of budget build. But what are you gonna do? This is what I got. So this is what we're gonna use. And because of this, because of how this body works, this is gonna be a nice body pattern as well. I may put boning in this, I may not. We'll have to see what it's sort of like once we get it done. Since this is gonna be in fur, I probably won't, because fur tends to not necessarily need it, because the fur, you would need boning if you want to make sure it holds its shape. Fur is so obfuscatory. That's a new word I just made up on the fly. It hides things, right? So fur just becomes a big lump of fur, generally speaking. So I don't worry that much about holding the shape in fur. If the fur is short, I do. But for long fur, which is probably what this is going to be, I don't know yet. I don't worry too much about it. So we'll see when we get there. I'll make that as a judgment call you got to make. So here we go. Here's the skull pattern. This is really nice because one of the things this is going to avoid, a lot of times, if you're building a rounded shape like this, you'll find that you'll get like pointy corners where the darts are. And the way around that is to just add more narrower darts. And so on a build like this, where you normally do the kind of Pac-Man shape, Demon Dreamer, hello. You see me do, like on my series where I do the pattern from scratch, I basically just do the Pac-Man shape and then put one big dart in the top. That's good enough for most things, but you do tend to get a kind of squared off angle with that. So what Tom's done here is they just added more darts at more places that are a bit narrower. The curve will amount to the same angle, but this will just be a smoother transition. It's like adding more polygons if you're building in 3D. Same process. So this is good. This is going to be a nice rounded shape. And now it's getting hot in here because I had to close the window. One of the reasons that we're getting thunderstorms is because the temperature is going to jump by like 10 degrees today. Weather, huh? So we're just going to trace this out. This is going to be... So these darts are so small the pen can't get in there. We're just gonna have to kind of eyeball it. That's all right. This is gonna be in fur, so I don't have to worry too much about accuracy. Get it as good as you can. You know me, I don't worry that much about it. I'm no Phil Fletcher. Here we go. And again, this is also in the back of the head, so you're hardly able to see that. More darts than a British pub. It's a new saying. Danger, honey, question mark. More darts than a British pub, exclamation mark. We cut that out. We make sure that's a nice dart. And there we go. So we'll just cut that out. I'm Phil Fletcher. We have the same hometown and are both awesome people. Well, you make some freakishly accurate puppets and we can talk. I'll believe you. All right, big scary razor blade time. So I'm just going to cut out the basic shape and then we'll get down in there and do the darts once we free it from the bulk. And of course, I'm moving stuff around and creating chaos. That's what we do here. So as the name implies, this pattern is nice and small. This is a smallie. That's a good thing, as we have talked about many times on this channel before. You want your puppets as small as it makes sense for them to be. Never build a big puppet just to build a big puppet. There's a reason for it to be big? Build big. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's real good. Tom's done a great job with this, and giving it away for free is also very generous. There, so we haven't, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna cut out this circle a bit differently. You'll see in a second. I'm just gonna cut that like that just to get it out of the thing. And we're gonna be more careful, cut this out, cut the circle out separately. If you want to know why we do this Pac-Man shape in here, I'll explain that in a sec. Just get this freed. I'm sure some of you already know why we do the cheek thing. I've talked about it before. I've done it before on stream. But some of you may be new, some of you maybe didn't see that stream. How dare you miss a stream? Like you have a life or something. But grated cheese, huh? That's one of the few foods I can still eat, is cheese. Which is good because I'm quite fond of cheese. Okay. So we'll cut out our darts. It's a shame I can't actually barge right now because this would be fun just to put together. No, I really can't. I just checked. I really can't open the window. It's literally like pounding against the window. If I were to open that window, it would just be rain in here. What a shame. The weather is not cooperating with our puppet building. This is not right. I complain to. So very carefully. I said carefully. I'm gonna have to do this up here because here we'll. So, oh, it's Stilton. Stilton's great. I love Stilton. We had cheese chat in the chat. Very carefully cutting out the little Pac-Man shape in the cheek here. It's good to do this carefully. One. Get an umbrella, yeah. No, there's a power outlet right below the windows, and that's where a lot of things for the stream are plugged in. We don't want that A setting on fire and B going away, because then the stream would go away. We try to avoid explosions in the studio as much as possible. All right, there we go. So we've got our little circles cut out. So what you should do for the cheek inserts is if you are building out of, oh, I didn't do the darts here. If you are building out of reticulated foam, as we are, what you want to do is these cheek inserts, these little Pac-Man shapes on the corner of the mouth here, you want to build those out of either a softer foam or the same foam but at half the width or half the thickness. So it's a little bit looser around the cheeks. That's the practical side of doing the cheek inserts. There's also an aesthetic side to doing that, and it's if you take this shape and you make this a bit bigger, that will fit in the hole, and then you kind of make it fit in the hole when you put it together, it will actually create more of a puckered cheek. And that is very desirable in some builds. Depends on what you're after. Inserts on some builds. So if I'm building out a polyfoam, I generally don't do a cheek insert because there's no point. The foam isn't softer unless I want to sculpt it to be a little bit more sticky-outy. Now, the problem is I'm not sure I have polyfoam, upholstery foam, enough to make these cheek inserts. Let's see, I got a little piece right here. Oh yeah, that'll do. That'll do. We can do 2 out of that. let's do that. I'm going to cut these out with scissors just because polyfoam and razor blades are not necessarily the best of friends. And I am going to make these a bit bigger. I'm just going to trace along the outside of the line rather than the inside. And it'll create a little puckered shape. You probably won't see that in the finished build just because this is going to be fur. But just in case we decide to shave it down and get it all nice and flush with the skull, we'll see. You'll notice, just by default, I also mirror these things, despite the fact that they don't really need to be mirrored. It's just a good habit to get in, is to always flip your pattern when you mirror it. And also it keeps the pen marks on the right side. So you do want to take care. That's not going to be an issue with this build, but for builds where you're building out of fleece, the fleece can be a bit sheer. So if you have, when you put this together, you want to try and make sure that all the pen marks that are on the foam are in the inside of the puppet, because on fleece that can show through depending on the color of the fleece and the quality of the dye job and how thick the fleece is and all that kind of stuff. It's just a best practice. Always keep your pen marks on the inside if you can. I need another lozenge. Lozenge time. Some lozenge music, maestro. It's getting very hot in here. I think the rain may have actually passed. We'll see in a second what that's like. But since I'm hot, I'll have some coffee. The coffee isn't hot anymore, so. Oh. Taking a breath. We're good. This is actually going well. Because it's a good pattern, you see? Tom's done us all a good service. I should, Tom isn't that far from me. Tom's in Hamilton, I'm in Toronto. Not an unreasonable distance, one GO train trip kind of thing. It's just a couple hours away. We should try and arrange a cross-brand synergy or something. That'd be fun. Look at me, who do I think I am? CreatureWorks Studio is like one of the oldest, long-established, and well-respected puppet studios in Canada, period. Who am I? I'm just some guy on the internet. Who do I think I am? We're all friendly, it's all fine. All right, so I'm just gonna use my foam shears to cut these out. Do you think smaller puppets are better for arthritic puppeteers? So that's a very good question, actually. Maybe not. As an arthritic puppeteer, I do notice that a more cramped space inside the head does tend to aggravate that a little bit more. It is always better, A, for weight and B, for performance. A and B. 1 and 2. It may not necessarily be the best specifically for arthritis or any other kind of itis. I'm not sure what I have with arthritis. It might be tendonitis, but it's pain. It's pain in the hand. It could even be carpal tunnel. I don't know. One day I'll get that diagnosed. However, it's a good question. I think maybe not, because, well, it's hard to say specifically, because, like, for example, when I perform the Oracle is very small. There's no room in the head. My hand, it starts to hurt pretty quickly. Now, the real reason for that is because the Oracle's mouth plates are curved and rigid. So it forces my thumb down into a very unnatural position. But for Jelly Roll, for example, who is quite small, it's really not a problem. I find you can get a better performance with something like the Greely or Goblin, along with copper-lined gloves with Tiger Balm for my thumb. So interesting. I've never tried to medicate for puppeteering other than just like taking some painkillers. I don't generally do it for that long a period of time, so it's not really a issue. JRR24, hello. Nice to see you, because you always put up the fleur-de-lis there, and I know what that means, and I appreciate it. So yeah, very good question. I don't know. Frankie has, for example, Frankie being on the bigger side, Frankie's got his own challenges because he's got the mech in there, so it's a little weird to get your hand used to that. With Frankie, I did something I don't normally do. That I normally do with shop builds, and I'll put some fleece or something, because Frankie's built out of reticulated foam, and very thick, stiff reticulated foam as well. So if I'm performing Frankie for a long time and I didn't put any softer foam or any fleece lining or anything in there, Frankie's hair shirt time, right? So if I'm performing Frankie for a long time, I will literally get like a cut across my hand where the edge of the skull is constantly rubbing, because it's reticulated foam can be very scratchy and very abrasive, and it's got a sharp edge there, right? I just need to get in there and round that off, or put some lace in there or something. But what would you say is your favorite fantasy creature? Goblins. That's an easy one to answer. I love goblins. Goblins and trolls. Think about that for a second. Who are my two main characters? A goblin and a troll. Yeah, love goblins. Goblins for me are always like, nice, Zap. Hi, nice for you to get through your meeting. Thank you. Goblins, whenever I play like a new fantasy game or something, I always look at the goblins, if there are goblins, first, because that's kind of the litmus test for like, what's your design aesthetic like? You make a good goblin, you got me. And that's what, so yeah, goblins for sure are my favorite, by a long shot. Okay, so there we go. There's our skull, all cut out, ready to go. Those are all ready to get glued in there. So let's do the body next. So, as you can see on the instructions, cut out 4 of these. Little tip. So 4 is fine. Maybe we should do this. You know what? I'm not gonna do it for the shop build, but maybe we'll do this at some point. Integrated Pac-Man. Yes, exactly. For Yetis. Does anyone have Kevin breaking up? Oh, am I okay? You tell me. I don't have any dropped frames on this end. So you let me know. Again, we're having weather, so I don't know. It might be on my end. This is going to result in this 4-panel body, right? And that will look fine, but if you want, so for fur, this is going to be fine. But if you were to build this in fleece, you might, again, because the fewer panels, you're going to end up with kind of a point where the 2 panels meet. So if you wanted to do this in fleece and you wanted a more Kermit-y, rounded off kind of body, speaking of, here, I can actually show you. You mentioned that when you're wearing, Frankie, your hand aches and gets sore. Is there something a glove or hand wraps can help with? In the case of Frankie, yes, because it would just cushion from the abrasiveness of the foam. In terms of the pain of just like the repetitive strain thing that I've got, probably not. I'm not sure what would help with that. I should one day talk to my doctor if I can get my doctor to listen to me. It's a whole other subject. But talking of body panels, I just happen to have an example right here. So this is a body pattern that I worked up for a familiar character that you may be known to you. And it is 8 panels. So what this is basically the same as this, just divided in half. Are you still seeing Dr. Shrug? Yes, I am still seeing Dr. Shrug. That's my nickname for my doctor, Dr. Shrug. And it's basically what he does whenever I tell him things. Anyway, long story. And you can see how nice and rounded this is, right? So just the more divisions, the more panels you make, the rounder your shape is going to be. So if you wanted to, you could take this shape and you could just like make another curve halfway along and then join those together, and you would get a more rounded shape. That's fairly easy to do. We're going to stick with the 4 panels for this build because it's in fur, and so it's not going to matter. You're going to lose definition with the fur anyway. But if I was going to build this in fleece, I would definitely do 1 million panels, exactly. And again, if you've ever built 3D models, this is exactly the same as subdividing polygons. That's what this is. Creature Works, hey! The Maestro themselves. I even wrote thanks Tom on the pattern, see? Everyone say hello to Tom, who has generously provided today's pattern for free. Go to their channel. I'll post it again. Well, you can actually just click on their thing in the chat, I assume, but if not, sorry, just finished a puppet build. Really? What is it? What a shock. Who even knew? There you go. Hopefully that goes out to all the chats. There's Tom's channel. Please go there, subscribe, sign up for Tom's newsletter, get the free pattern, because that's what we're doing. So Tom, you missed that we've done horrible things to your hand pattern. I apologize in advance. But I had to go with my signature 2-finger thing, you know, what can I say? But we have kept it in the same proportions as the original. So hopefully that's good. And we were just talking about how with the body pattern, you can take this is the 4-panel version, but you can subdivide this more and make it a rounder curve. Have I ever been a leprechaun puppet? I have not. Again, I don't tend to make humanoid puppets. I make monsters. I gotta get that shirt. One day I'm gonna get a shirt, Operation Puppet branded, that says I make monsters. Got a whole Dr. Frankenstein thing going on. You wouldn't know it from the shirt. So I've just got some real scraps of foam down here. I'm gonna start. No, don't sue me, Tom. I'm just gonna start pulling out these scraps and just tracing these panels wherever I can fit them in. There's one. And the nice thing about foam is there's no grain to a foam, so you could like put these in any way they fit. Never get past Gus in marketing for any way Creature Work. There was the last lawyers to sleep. Well, maybe I should introduce a legal team character. The thing is, that's real close to like what is it? The new on the Muppets? The Big Thunder. Big Thunder. We're not opening the window yet. The Legal Weasel, is it on the Muppets? I can't even remember. They're called. Can we fit one more on here anywhere? Ooh, that's super tight. Might be okay. We're building this out of fur, so we don't need to worry too much about definition. Oh, that is so close. Look at that. Yeah, that was a big one. I don't even know if you heard that on the mic, but that was a big boom. We'll try it. We'll see. We've got the thickness of the marker to act as a bit of a buffer. I'm trying to use up as much foam as I can without wasting. I'm budget conscious these days, so it should be okay. We'll see. We'll put that one in the bin. Just don't tell him. And this will be our little secret. Just me and the 11 people here. There we go. We got it all. We got it all in the scrap. Always try and use up your scrap. Don't waste things. Both for the sake of your wallet and the planet. Two important things. Closest thing to a humanoid monster would be Gus from marketing, but mostly because monsters don't. But humans don't either. Use the foam in the mouth area for the thumb. Yes. Yeah, probably the closest thing to human that I have built regularly is, I mean, the smalls you can make an argument for, but Jelly Rolls, I don't even know what Jelly Roll is, but it's probably the closest. The Jelly Roll and the Nosferatu I built for JB are probably the closest thing to human that I've ever built. I just, you know. You have your hands, never mind. Yeah, no, we're good. We're good. Yeah, well, Gus is a useful character on the show, right? Because like Frankie particularly needs a foil, and that was originally intended to be the Oracle. The Oracle and Frankie were supposed to, in my envisioning, have a much had a much more adversarial relationship than they ended up having. Again, the characters evolve as the show evolves, right? So it's good to have somebody in there who could just be a target, you know, for Frankie. Because that's humor, that creates humor. I mean, Jelly Roll is the personification of chastity. He's named after Jelly Roll Morton, so you know. Of course. All right, let's cut these out. We can't glue. That's killing me now. I want to start putting this stuff together, and it's a thunderstorm outside, so I can't open the window, so I can't barge. This is not good. I don't know what we're gonna have to decide before. Where are we at here? We're only at an hour. We got a whole hour left. We're gonna have to decide what color this is gonna be, and then I have to start cutting out the fabric. So that's gonna be next after we're finished cutting out the foam. Well, yeah, I did want to lose what it was with Gus. It was part of me kind of purging the original builds, right? Because they were all puppets that I hadn't built, and so I wasn't sure if I wanted Gus back. Turns out Gus has become more useful than I originally envisioned, because originally he was just like marketing guy, and now that we're all into the era of crypto and AI nonsense, the stuff, the pool of things available to parody with Gus has become bigger, right? So Gus has become useful again in terms of writing. So Gus is sticking around, don't worry. Purple, I don't think I have any purple fur. I don't have any purple fur. We'll give the options in a minute about what colors of fur I have. We'll let chat decide. That'll be fun. I think I might need to get a razor blade. It's starting to drag. Blades needs a new blade. Eh? Creative writing, everybody. You see, because my name is Kevin Blades. That was a joke. Not a good joke. Gascoigne is the best crypto. You're right. Why wouldn't you want an excited Yeti? If you want, I can set up a straw poll for your color options when you show up. That'll only show up on Twitch though, right? I assume. Kevin needs new blades. Yes. We'll just wing it with the color choice. I mean, ultimately, I'm gonna ignore you all and just do what I want anyway. You know that. So that's not true. There's no bad choice. That's the thing. If it was bad, I wouldn't order it. The other thing I have to consider is I'm not sure. So this is going to go on the shop, and there will be a portion of the proceeds donated to charity, as Tom has requested. I'm not sure what shop it's going to go on. There's going to be a blue furry small going up on the Etsy shop probably the end of this week. So I don't necessarily want to put two blue furry monsters up at the same time. So we may avoid blue. Or I may just put this on the direct shop. We'll see. I stand behind Weird Kids Fleece. Oh, don't even get me. I literally just placed a new order. Still waiting for them to diet and get it sent to me. But that stuff is, love it. Looks great. And it's straight up Nyla Fleece, but they hand dye all this. So, well, machine dye, but they do it themselves kind of thing. It's not out of the mill. And it just looks so good. That more than anything is the closest to like original Muppet looking fleece that I've ever seen. Helmo red. I don't have any red. That's one color I don't have, is red or like a dark orange. Yellow. I do have yellow, but it's very short. I'll show you that in a second. It actually is very big birdie. All right, there are our body panels. We could cut out the hands, which again, I'm a puppet builder, so I hate doing. Because some things are, Scarlet, there's no purple fur, I'm sorry. The reason there's no purple fur is because I've made all of the purple fur puppets. They're all done. I have to order more. I don't even think I have any scrap. I have a little bit of purple scrap, but not enough to build a whole pup. Glittery purple, no. Okay, so there's that. There's our Pac-Man cheek inserts. So I guess the last thing is either the foam skull or the hands. We gotta do the hand. Look, there's no sense in putting it off, Kevin. You just gotta do it. You just gotta do it. These fur mascot turned out beautifully. The stretch is far more superior than anything out there right now. Yeah, it's super, super stretchy. I love it. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about Weird Kid. Frankie Yak Brown, I don't think I have any. I just used the last of it. I've got a bunch of scraps, which we could incorporate. Oh, see, you got me standing up and looking now. It's because I'm distracted because I have to cut the hands out now, and I don't want to because for some reason, see, Tom knows, everybody knows. Puppet builders hate making hands. We have to find the one puppet builder. There must be somebody out there who likes making hands. We have to find that person and outsource all of our handwork to them and live happily. I can't believe I'm advocating outsourcing. Sorry. Really shouldn't. Let me see. Oh, speaking of purple, speaking of purple and Weird Kid, here's a scrap that was on the floor. This is purple Weird Kid, please. Stuff is great. I love it. Even building giant hands are a pain. I'll bet. You would know. Look at this stuff. Oh, it's so nice. The texture is so nice. Look at that. Look at this stretch. Look at that stretch. Oh, that's the best. Hands and hair work. Hate sewing the hairlines. Yeah, that's why I never do it. I'm terrible at that. Well, again, I'm building for the shop, so I gotta be quick. So I'm usually just getting in there with the hot glue and slapping it on and going, well, that's what it looks like now. Again, I don't worry too much about precision. But once again, don't do what I do. All right, we're gonna get as many, we gotta cut 4 of these out, so we gotta get as many of these as we can. Where'd my pen go? What did I do? Did I put it back in the right place? I did. What's wrong with me? The one thing I will say, Weird Kid never sees this, their yellow has occasionally been not great. I don't know why, specifically yellow. It's been very thin and sheer. I mean, all the fleece is a bit sheer, but yeah, I've had some yellow that was not great from them, but also had some yellow that was really nice. So I don't know what the difference is. I think it's just like the weight. But still, yeah, no, Weird Kid is by far my favorite. All right, we're doing it. I'm gonna cut these out with the shears just because A, my razor blade is dull and I really don't want to get a new one out. And these don't need a terrible degree of accuracy, so. Unless you're Phil Fletcher. Hint, I'm not Phil Fletcher. Scarlet's Phil Fletcher. Yeah. Yeah, I often am a bit conscious of that because I wonder, like, I hope nobody who buys some of the puppets is allergic to cats, because quite often, not all the time, but sometimes, if I'm sitting here hand sewing, I've got Jimmy in my lap. Like, Jimmy's very affectionate and is bonded with me very closely, and so he loves to sit in my lap while I'm like listening to music and sewing. So there's definitely cat fur on the puppets that go out. So I hope that nobody buys from me is like terribly allergic to puppets. I do go over them with the lint roller and everything before they go out, but it is a concern that one day I suspect may come back to bite me. Nothing I can do about that, sorry. All right, can we get one more? Yes, we can. Look at that, all 4 out of this scrap. It's very hot. I really want to open the window. We'll cut these out and see. Free cat repurchase. It's the Operation Puppet. It's the Operation Puppet promise. You gotta say it like us. All right, I got my foam carving scissors out here. We're just gonna try to cut these square. Ha 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 ha. That's a funny joke if you've ever tried to cut something out that's foam that compresses with shears. Okay, this is probably going to be fur. We just have to ballpark it. We don't have to worry too much. I'll take a pet brush to the fur. I try not to do that just because particularly if I like styled it or something like that, it can ruin because they get all like smooth and stuff. I can understand like doing that and then styling it. Yeah, they should do that. What am I talking about? Yeah, I lint roller it and then hope for the best. I mean, you have to anyway, just because there's all kinds of scrap floating around and bits of whatever. I don't always remember to do that before I do product photos. So there's sometimes I look at some of the product photos, I'm like, oh, there's like a big thread hanging off of that or something. And so far, I don't think anybody's noticed. You just heard that Disney's doing, yes, Disney's doing something with Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. Looks promising. Anytime Bill Beretta gets work, I'm happy, you know? I think also Bill Beretta is at least one of the principals on this. And Bill Beretta was the principal on the Muppets Haunted Mansion special, which was quite good. So I am hopeful that it'll be fun. Whether it'll be successful is another thing. But that's the nice thing about the whole Disney Plus thing, is they're willing to sort of throw stuff at the wall and see if it sticks, right? Hopefully it'll stick. Yeah, well, that's the thing, is they've really kind of knuckled down on the nostalgia thing. And while that makes marketing sense, I don't necessarily think it's going to work for the longevity of the franchise, because we need new people coming on board, right? Like, yeah, you got to cater to your existing audience, but that's not the only thing you need to do. You need to work on outreach. But these are Disney people. They know all this stuff. I'm not telling them anything they don't already know. It's a Muppet Show based on the old Leppy. I know everybody says this, right? It's like, and I agree, it's just make the Muppet Show again. Just do that. Get guest stars that are current. Get freaking TikTok stars on if you want. I don't care, just something, right? But the format of the old show was just perfect. It was exactly right for the Muppets. I am 100% agreeing. And this is what I said before, don't even act like it ever went away, right? Just do the next season of the Muppet Show. Or act like it was an extended lunch break or something, you know? Get Hacker T-Dog on the Muppets. Look, if we want to do crossbred, I'll get Frankie and the Oracle and the Muppets in a second. You kidding me? Come on, let's go. Let's do it. Somebody call Matt Vogel. Put in a good word for us. Yeah, exactly. Like think about the crossbred synergy you could get. Tom's right with like, you know, hey, what's the next Marvel movie? We'll just get Ant-Man on the Muppet Show. Think of the jokes. They write themselves. Are you kidding me? This is a no-brainer, Disney. How can we can think of this, you can think of this. Yeah, the Saturday Night Live puppets, Land of Gorge stuff. Bring them back. Bring Scred back. There's a t-shirt. Justice for Scred. All right, see, this is why we talk, because I got all the hand inserts cut out and didn't even think about it. Didn't grit my teeth through cutting a set of hands. All right, we are at the point where we got to decide on color. You should get Matt Vogel to try on your Kermit. Oh, I wouldn't. Oh, I would lose my mind. Like I couldn't emotionally handle an actual Muppet performer trying on one of my puppets. I would freak out. Are you kidding me? I would have to do a build specially for them. It'd take like a month to do it. I'm standing up because I'm going to try opening the window because it's so hot in here. What do we got? I think the rain has stopped. Oh, blessed oxygen. Good heavens. Okay. Colors. Somebody said yellow. This is going to be hard because I got to dig some of this stuff out. It's not in an easily accessible place. Let's see. So here's the yellow I got. I might have enough of it. It's kind of hard to see, but olive. I don't have any I don't have enough. I have enough olive colored fur, but not in a single piece. I got lots of olive scrap. So here's the yellow, and as you can see, it's a very, very short pile, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's the yellow. So the other serious options are, this is the one I'm kind of leaning towards. Let me see if I can get this out. I have a lot of this. This is a blue. Don't have any burgundy, unfortunately. Here's the blue. I have a couple blues. And this is really nice. This is a nice peacock blue. This is quite bright, and I like the texture on this a lot. Got nice and scraggly. It's got a nice long pile. This is tempting. Yeah, immediately replaces oxygen with barge. So there's the blue. I have another blue as well that's a bit darker, that's more Cookie Monster-y, but I don't like the texture as much. This is, I think, the current front runner, the blue here. Other thing we could do. We got the hot pink. The hottest of all pink. So this is also an option. This is nice. I have a lot of it. I don't really like the texture as much. This blue has a nice kind of scraggly yak fur kind of texture. Yeah, blue is I think the current front runner. I agree. What else we got? Let me get rid of this. This is taking up a lot of. I have an absolute mountain of gray. I'm not even going to entertain that. I've been too many gray puppets lately. So the other option, and really the only other viable one, I also have a very, very light, like a baby blue. I don't like it at all, which is why I should use it, but I'm not going to use it for this. Is this orange? And again, this is like the pink. The texture is very similar to the pink. It's not a very long pile, although it's kind of fun. Where'd you get that blue? You know, I don't remember. I think that might be Fabric Empire. Probably is fabric. Most of these are probably Fabric Empire. It's been so long since I ordered fur that I usually get my fur from fabricempire.com. It's all the yak fur stuff, all the long pile yak fur. Faux yak fur, I should make a point. Actual animals have not been, taken advantage of to make this stuff. This is all synthetic. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm not feeling the orange. I'm feeling the blue. Yeah, the blue fur shop. Yeah, I'm thinking blue. We got to go with the blue. The other thing we can do if we pick that blue is I have some scraps of that really, really nice blue from Fabricville that we built a couple puppets out of. This stuff is fantastic. So we can kind of mix this in and do like head hair or something. So I think that's an attractive proposition. I think we're going blue. We're going with the peacock blue. Say yay. This is the way. If you vote, say this is the way. He gets another lozenge. Oh, we got the giggles with the peacock. Yes, peacock. It's got two funny words. I got a lot of it, and I really would like to use some of it. This is the yeah. This is the key. Yeah. Yep. I like it. I think this is the best choice. All right. So now that we know what color it's going to be, we got to start cutting out the fabric. So let's put all this aside. If I don't have an aside to which to put it. There we go. Put it up here. So we're gonna put these patterns away for the moment, although I'm gonna need that soonish. And we'll start getting out the fabric patterns. So we'll start with the head. We'll start with whatever I pull out of the envelope first, because everything's in this envelope. So. What do we got here? Neck tube. We're not going to do a neck tube, so more with that. There's the body. Oh, I forgot to cut a dart out. Silly me. Here's the head. And we need the arms as well. I gotta think about the arms. I'm not quite sure how I want to do the hands yet. The fur looks different on every camera. I know. One day, add it to the infinite to-do list. I gotta sit down and color balance and white balance all of these cameras because they're all different. That's just the way cameras are. We're gonna start with the head and body, and then we'll just see. Let me cut that dart. So these are mostly gonna be sewn on the machine, so we're gonna have to add some seam allowances, and I'm gonna, since the head and the neck are separate, or head and the body are separate, I'm gonna hand sew the head to the body, but I am gonna make these mostly on the machine. I'm gonna sew this dart by hand because this is just too small to really do reliably. I can probably do it on the machine. But if you color balance the cameras, I will watch all of Star Wars. All of it, really? You might want to ask for some advice in that regard. And then don't follow it. Okay, so this body pattern, as you can see, is in two halves, and you have to mirror it along this line. Right? So, and Tom has very conveniently added this sort of overlap. It's where you can line up the two pieces. Another thing you can do is just cut this pattern out twice, and then just sort of make the pattern as a single, because this will be a single piece. Jar Jar all the way. I am not necessarily a Jar Jar hater. I think Jar Jar was a good concept, and I feel really bad about what happened to Ahmed Best, the actor who played Jar Jar, went through a really, really rough time with toxic. I mean, one of the first examples of a toxic fan blowback was Jar Jar, and things got real dark for Mr. Best. Thankfully, he has recovered, and he is now part of the franchise again. and things are good, but it got seriously bad, and it was kind of my first awareness of like the toxic fan base blowback thing and how it can affect actual people. It was bad. So I'm not going to say anything bad about Jar Jar. I think Jar Jar's all right. Not necessarily my preference, but somebody's. Which is the first? Yeah, so the first, in terms of the timeline, is Phantom Menace. But it's not necessarily that you should watch them in the order that the chronology goes, because it's kind of, I think, there are differing opinions on this, of course. But I think it's probably most helpful to watch them in the order that they were released, because they do kind of build on each other. And this is the thing, the story develops as the films go on, and you can see that as the films go on. So I would say start in the order that the films are released. So start with A New Hope, and then go do Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi, and then go and watch the prequels. The Machete, is it the Machete order? Machete. Yeah, well, Jar Jar was good. Exactly. I think Rick Berman at the time had a good point. That's like, if you're 8 years old, Jar Jar is your favorite character in that whole film. So, you know, it's because it's not for you doesn't mean it's not for anybody. Fanboys got to learn that. What I am currently doing with this giant sheet of blue fur, which would make a very nice blanket, I gotta say, is try to figure out the direction. Now the problem is, let me see if I can illustrate the problem. Sometimes you'll get fur like this, that is like, the direction actually changes. So up here, the direction's going this way, and then it moves to going this way. So the way around that is you can actually see, I know you can't see it on the camera here, maybe we can get it up real close, and hey, look at that. This way. So you see how these lines go up and down? That's the direction of the fur. It's either going to go this way or this way. And if it does happen to change on the exterior of the fur, you can get in there with a hairdryer and you can actually change the direction that the fur is going in. So I always go by what the nap, the netting says. So let's see. We want the fur going down. So this looks downish. We'll start like that. Oh dear, we started the Star Wars talk in the chat. It's all over now. The Mandalorian is very good. That's my non-controversial opinion. So one decision I have to make here is, how am I going to join the body to the head? Because normally how I would do it is I would add a seam allowance and I would just do it on the machine using the sleeve arm. But my sleeve arm is quite thick, which is a very odd sentence. And sometimes, particularly with something thick like fur, it won't go on. It's a real struggle. So I just end up doing it by hand. So I may just go, I'm not going to put the seam allowance on the neck here. I'm just going to sew it by hand. Oh no. I'm fine. Yeah, y'all go ahead. Talk your Star Wars. I got a puppet to build. I don't know what you're doing. I am going to add a seam allowance here, here, and here. So those are the bits we're going to sew on the machine. I'm going to sew the dart by hand, and we're going to sew the neck by hand. And you don't add a seam allowance on the mouth unless you're going to sew that on the machine, but I never do. I always sew that by hand too. So we'll just trace the pattern as is. One day I'll get pattern weights. Ha ha ha. Sure you will. You can tell You can tell a used pattern versus a not used pattern because it's got these marks on it. Oh, okay, Discord live react. We should MST3K it with Frankie. So here's my dirty secret to my seam allowances. I just eyeball them. I don't bother using this seam gauge anymore. I just go, it's about there. I know, bad habits. And you're not precise, you say. I wonder why. There we go, there's our seam allowances. Frankie and the whole watch Star Wars, yep. Yep. These are all good ideas. Oh, I just noticed Tom actually helpfully added, oh wait, this is mirrored. I didn't realize until just now, this is actually mirrored. Oh, that's even better. Okay, never mind, ignore this. We're not gonna use that. I hope you're not still watching, Tom. I didn't even read the pattern before I started doing this. So you can do it in two halves like this, but very helpfully, Tom has actually done a mirror. So along this line, you actually mirror it. So I'm gonna start there, how about? And very helpfully, there's a nap direction arrow. So let's do that. Let me make sure that this will fit. Yeah, we're good. And we're just gonna line that line up with the nap direction. Ha ha ha, everything's fine. See, I'm a professional. Can't you tell? So that's where our mirror begins, right there. Thank you, Tom. I like mirrored patterns like this a lot. It's because it's one less seam, right? You always want as few seams as you possibly need. Again, the whole point to this is to be instructive, and I think that was instructive for me as well as you. So, since it's mirrored on that line, we're gonna flip it over like that and trace it in, and there we go. See, it's a single piece. Which is very nice. Particularly nice out of fleece because that means the front of the face won't have a big seam that you have to contend with. So there we go. There's our mirror line right there. So our seam allowances gotta go like this. Right, because we're gonna fold that in half and then sew it. So I'll do something else up here with that. It's fine. Everything's fine. Ignore the man behind the curtain. This is why you should read the pattern before you start making it. Probably getting ink all over my hands, a little bit. But again, this is just how I have to work, right? It's all kind of quick and dirty. Get in there and do it. So there we go. There's the head pattern. Yeah, I could do this. I can even cut the body out of this. The problem is, of course, when you're tracing over an existing trace, sometimes you can get confused with what line is what. I'll think about this. So I got plenty of this. This is literally the size of a blanket, so they know shortage of this blue stuff. So then we want to do the body, and the body is also mirrored, and I know that ahead of time. So our nap direction is going down. We're going to read it this time. See, we're going to read the pattern, right? So we're going to mirror it on this line. But let's actually, while I'm here, mark that on the other side, right? So that way we know there's our mirror line. Oh, maybe we can. Yeah, we'll do it up here. Okay. It's not that long. There is a lower sleeve as well. That's why I should get that in. This is quite a short little body, so that's okay. I am probably going to sew up the back seam on the machine as well, so we'll just trace this out, making sure we're leaving plenty of room. I know my head in the frame, it kind of is. I'm sorry. Y'all don't want to see that close up. so there's our mirror line right there. So you notice, now that I'm paying attention, not actually. We're gonna line those up with the mirror lines, and there we go. I make the mistakes so you don't have to. Body has another piece. I think it's on page 6 or 8. What's that called? Have a look. I cut it all out. I cut the whole thing out, so it should be good. And there's our center line. Always important. Let's see, what do we got here? I don't have the pages anymore because I already cut them all out. So there's the neck tube. Oh, right, here we go. Oh, wait, hang on. Did I do this? Did I do it wrong again, Tom? Did I do this wrong? Did I mirror it on the wrong line? Oh, I see. Yep, I did. I did it wrong again. Yeah, I got you. That makes perfect sense. Thank you. I'm so glad you were here. Thank you. Never mind. Ignore this. Ignore this whole top area. I did that all wrong. See? These are the mistakes I usually make off camera. It's right, folks. Even I'm not perfect. Yeah, all right. We will never speak of this again. The Jedi mind trick thing, right? Wrapping it all around. It's a callback. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. This is what I would normally do. If I was paying attention and had read the pattern ahead of time, I would have done this. I'm going to actually just tape these together. That's what you should do. And I know why Tom did this too, because it wouldn't all fit on the same page, would it? I've done that with my own patterns. I don't have any tape. I'll tape it together later. We'll just draw this in now. Whew, thank you for catching that, Tom. That's great. All right, so this is the mirror line here. All right, so no mistakes, just happy accidents, just like Bob Ross, you're right. So, Tom, before I even start, is this correct? And we mirror it on this edge. Is that correct? This is what's great about having Tom in the chat. You see all the happy accidents I make while building. Yeah, I'll bet. Same, totally the same. Make it so. All right, good. Nobody clip it. Hide my shame. All right. Here we go. We're just gonna go through. We're just gonna get it done. Here we are. Boom, boom. So this is all a single piece then. It's not two pieces. We do have the nap going in the right direction. That's correct. There's our mirror line, so that's why I'm not going to close that. Let me just make our marks here so we know. Okay. All right. That makes so much more sense now that I look at it. Gonna mirror it there. Boom, boom. There, there. Then, like this. One C, make it easy. Nice, yeah. So this is the back then, is that correct, Tom? These two here? Mark that is back. And this is the front. I have changed the pattern. Pray I don't change it anymore. Yep. We got all the references. We got them all. You name it, we got it. Okay. Putting this away. That was never a mistake. Yeah, the seam was on the back of the butt, but I messed up when I did my tutorials, did it on the front, but whatever. Hey, you see? See? I'm not the only one. It's even his pattern. Oh, all right. Frankie, you'll never let me forget this. Where are we at? 12:37. Oh no, there's still time. All right. So we got to add our seam allowances. I'm gonna do the darts by hand. So, and I'm also gonna do the neck, the top, the bottom. Oh, there's also a bottom sleeve, right? I should turn that out. You should be impressed, even though Star Wars lights. We're all impressed. Scarlett, I'm impressed by you every day, believe me. Is there a lower sleeve? I think there is. If not, I'll probably add one. Uh-oh. Oh no, you've uttered the cursed words, the Big Bang Theory. I don't know what we're gonna do now. We're gonna divide the crowd, I guarantee it. The bottom sleeve I made so you can use it for the neck and bottom. Oh, right, okay, I got you. I'm not gonna worry about that right now because I gotta think about how I want to do that. I'm gonna take a look at it after it's together and then decide how I want to handle that. We're just gonna cut these out right now. So the best way to cut fur, as we always talk about, is that on purpose. Good stuff. Just ignore all this wrongness up here. The best way to cut fur is always with a razor blade from the back. The problem I have found, particularly with this fur that I get from Fabric Empire, is there's what's called sizing on the back of it, and it's like this stiffener, and that does not yield to razor blades very well. Just use your hands to tear it, yes. So I do use scissors to cut fur, but the secret to cutting fur with scissors is you make little tiny cuts. You try to only cut the netting and not the fur. So don't cut the whole thing, just cut along the netting in the back. And no, not there. If you're used to it, you can get pretty quick with this. Laser, yeah. And also you don't have to be that careful when you're going along a seam allowance because that's gonna get all tucked in anyway. But I'm just going little tiny snips and making sure I'm only cutting the netting and not the fur. You want to keep the fur as long as you can. Now the fun part that's going to be when I come to do the facial features of this, I have, probably will arrive today, some more of those EVA foam spheres from Stacy Gordon of Puppet Pie, and I have the large ones coming, the 45 millimeter, I think it is. And those might get used. So the nose of the scissors stays flush with the backing of the fur, yes. I can hear Jimmy yelling at the door. Jimmy woke up from his nap and now he wants cuddles. Who can blame him? All right, there we go. So yeah, particularly as Tom points out, if you sort of point the scissors down like that, it makes it easier to just get the netting. you will develop a feel for it after a while. I can just feel it when it's in the right place. Use the force, etc. Yes, Jimmy, I can hear you. People on stream can't. There we go. There we go. My wife, Margaret, everybody. Apparently the foam that I ordered is now here. Yay. Thank you, honey. See, we're a team. The concierge has entered the chat. I think the thunderstorms may be done for the day, which is good because they do have some gluing I have to get done for shop builds this afternoon. I usually cut the darts out later, so we just go past. Do be careful when you're cutting fur, because you don't want to cut the nap or cut the pile. This is going to be such a cute little creature. I almost feel tempted to do like a tummy insert. It's like a little bit of fleece in a tummy. I was max headroom for a split second. Really? I don't have any drop streams on, or drop frames on this end, so maybe the actual stream is doing something like, or maybe I am max headroom. You never know. This whole stream could be generated by AI. That's why the mistake happened, because I'm now generated. I'm ChatGPT something Dolly. It has replaced me, just as I always knew it would. All right, there we go. So you see, if you're careful, you will not cut the fur. You'll only cut the netting, and you'll leave it all nice and shaggy. The whole internet is exploding. Oh, not again. Well, let's cut those darts out. 20 minutes into the future. It's 1984, Scarlett. What year do you think it is? Name something only a human could name. Australopithecus. No, that's available on Wikipedia. There is nothing only a human could name. Names are artificial. Philosophy, huh? That's something an AI can't do. Well. All right, there we go. There's our head cut out. Ignoring all the wrongness. Oh, we didn't have any seam allowances here. Probably want to do that. Which of these squares contains a bike? Yeah. Okay, so this is the back seam. So we're going to add a seam allowance back there. The lower sleeve, I will probably end up putting one in, so we are gonna put a seam allowance there. The other thing is we don't really need to add a lower sleeve. If we just add enough of the seam allowance, we can just kind of make a lower sleeve that's built into this, which is something I often do, and maybe we'll do this time. You know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna add, and again, I eyeball this because it's fur. So once again, don't do what I do. I'm just gonna see how long this ends up looking, because remember, the fur is going this way, so you're gonna add like another couple of inches onto this for real, so. We'll just see what this is like, if it needs a lower sleeve or not. That's the question. These darts are gonna be sewn by hand, so we just gotta add one more seam allowance on back here. And Tom's probably cringing watching me do this. And I wouldn't blame you. My child. What have you done? It will be perfect. Well, let's see about that. But it won't be perfect, but it'll be imperfectly nice. That's my goal. Perfect is the enemy of good. Just remember that. We've actually got a fair amount of the way through this build. I don't know if this will be done this week, but next week for sure. So we're not going to bust out the sewing machine on this tree. We've only got like 10 minutes left. So after I'm finished cutting this out, we'll just, it took me about 5 hours. That's pretty good. I wish I'm always trying to work faster just because, you know, building for the shop, it's important to be able to keep the costs down. And most of the cost, as you know, is labor time. I'm old, so I don't move that fast. I need frequent rests and nostalgia breaks. And this month particularly is going to be weird, as I have blogged about, because there's actually quite a lot of downtime this month, including an actual vacation coming up in a couple of weeks. Going back to New York City. All right. Get rid of that. Put the darts out. There's no thunder in Hamilton, only a hurricane. Yikes. Oh, wait. Is that a you reference? Is that, I don't know from sports. Is that a sports reference? Because I think it might be a sports reference. Yes, I am going to New York City in a couple weeks. Hanging out in Manhattan, visiting the Harlem Jazz Museum. I will not be bringing any puppets on this trip, but on a future trip, quite possibly. What's a vacation, yeah. hopefully my sartorial inspiration, Dandy Wellington, will be playing someplace that I can get to while I'm there. Always like to see Dandy when I am in town. Hello! Do you have a puppet transport solution for future puppet travel? I don't really, but like, really just packing them in a suitcase carefully. You know the TSA is going to go, "What's this, sir?" All right, here we go. I'm back under our second channel. Good. Garbage bag filled with putty. Yeah, I wouldn't advise that. Especially not for fur. So there we go. Our head and body fur is cut out. All of the foam is cut out. So we just gotta start making it all stick together. That's the next part. Yeah, not buying a ticket for Frankie or the Oracle next time. At some point, they will be going with me to the Museum of the Moving Image. Not on this trip. This is just a long weekend getaway kind of thing. But there will be a future puppet-based trip to New York. Make certain rods for puppets are not stuffed into the puppet going through the X-ray machine. Yeah, I bet you that's gotta look weird. That's why I'm absolutely sure, like, when I do go, I'm definitely getting flagged for some special interview. It's like, look, I build puppets. This is a puppet. It's clearly a puppet. There's very few explosive puppets. Puppet blog? Possibly. I mean, for the New York trip, when I do take the puppets to New York, yeah, there's shooting video the whole time. That'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. When that happens, I have no idea, but it will happen. Wow, that went. We did some stuff today. Is that a troll in your bag, sir? Yes, that's exactly what that is. Please don't ask me any further follow-up questions. That wouldn't go well. Thank you so much, everybody. We did some stuff. Tom was here. I'm so happy Tom was able to make it for the stream and correct me. See, very helpful. Very helpful. Puppet builders stick together. It's nice. Thankfully, there were no mistakes made. No video proof of mistakes. Look, I'm unfed, and that's the problem. So I'm going to go have lunch, and then all of the brain things will start working, and I'll be finishing this. I don't know if I'll be finishing it next stream. I don't know what's going to happen. Next week's going to get weird. Next week is when things start to get weird. So I don't know. Stay tuned, of course, to all the socials. Visit thecreatureworksstudio.com to get your own, I'm doing your marketing for you, Tom, to get your own copy of this pattern that Tom has very generously supplied for free to everybody who signs up for his newsletter. Do that, get your own pattern. You can make the thing that I'm making here. And yeah, it's all good. So I'm gonna go. Don't forget to join the Discord. Don't forget to listen to the podcast, Pixels and Puppets. Thank you, Scarlett. See, I got you. And there's the Discord link. Nice, well done. Scarlett has got my back, always. Very much appreciate it. I'm gonna go have my lunch. You guys have a great week. I don't know, I had possibly the urge to do some Frankie Play stuff this weekend. I don't know yet. Stay tuned, join the Discord, find out when we're doing stuff. There's gonna be stuff, I just don't know when. You'll find out when you see it on either my socials or the Discord or something. Anyway, thank you everybody. Thank you, Tom, especially. And at the very least, hope we'll see you next week. Adios.